Welcome back to Commercial Connections, Investing with Confidence. In today's episode, I want to talk about two important numbers that get a lot of attention in the multifamily market, and that's vacancy and rent, and more importantly, what most owners are missing when they're looking at those numbers in isolation. Let me start with this. Most owners are watching vacancy, but they're not always watching the right or correct kind of vacancy. When I hear an owner say vacancy is up, so the market must be weakening, my first response is always a question. Where is that vacancy and what type of property? Because vacancy is not always evenly distributed, especially here in the Eugene-Springfield market. Right now, overall vacancy is setting in the mid 5% range. That's close enough to what our long-term averages have been, and it's well beyond what we consider to be a stressed market. But that single number alone hides a lot of nuances. With newer high-end properties that absorb the bulk of the recent supply wave that we experienced, those properties felt the pressure first. Older properties, generally built in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, have held up much better. That's because the Eugene-Springfield market is dominated by the older, functional, well-located multifamily housing properties like those. These properties compete on affordability, location, but not really amenities. Now, let's talk about rents. Yes, rent growth has slowed. We're seeing roughly a 1% rent growth right now, and that feels modest compared to years in the past. But slower rent growth does not mean declining rents. What we're seeing instead is stabilization. After periods of rapid growth, the markets often pause, then resume growth at a more sustainable pace and rate. Forecasts show that rent growth gradually should be improving over the next 12 to 24 months as supply pressure continues to fade. And here's the key point. Flat rents do not automatically hurt value. Uncertainty hurts value. Let me give you a quick local example that I'm seeing. I've worked with owners whose properties were stable and well leased, but they were concerned because they heard that rents were softening. When they compared their rents to similar properties in the market, it became clear that they were actually outperforming the competition. So the problem wasn't performance, it was lack of information or context. That's why relative performance really matters more than the headlines. Vacancy and rent data only becomes useful when it's paired with the right property type, location, and timing. Thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, please make sure to hit subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. If you'd like a clear picture of what's happening in the Eugene-Springfield market, visit Eugene-Commercial to download a free market snapshot for the Eugene-Springfield apartments, or you can also download one for the University of Oregon student housing market. You can also schedule a free 15-minute discovery call there if you'd like to talk through your options.